So I filmed this video last night, but it like deleted itself off the face of the earth. So I'm re-uploading it, but that's kind of good because there were a lot of parts where I like messed up and didn't say the right stuff, and some parts that I just wanted to like tweak a little bit. So yeah, part two. So over the time span, well, this is actually takes place before Naruto has graduated, and in the days before the graduation, which it was like a couple of months, Naruto would just train against manhoppers and regal cave wolves, trying to get stronger and level up faster, which would do like it would work pretty well since he can summon a lot of them and he can like they're all the same level as him. So it gives him a challenge and it's pretty helpful for XP. But yeah, he would do this for the months as he would get stronger and whatnot. Now we time skip to when after Naruto graduates, he gets his team and Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke all have their same introductions, and Kakashi still tells them about the bell test. Everything is normal. But the way the bell test starts is when Kakashi tells them to go, Naruto jumps into some bushes, as he's become accustomed to checking out his opponent's moves before he attacks, since he fights NPCs and they all have the same like attacks, and they all have a strategy pretty much. So he stays back to watch Kakashi's strategy, and to help, Sasuke doesn't do it intentionally, but he goes to fight Kakashi, thinking he could handle the joning. And their fight goes similar to how it did in the canon time. And Sakura would be next to Naruto, and she would start telling him to go help Sasuke, as she doesn't want to see him lose. So Naruto would jump out from the bushes and yell, Gale Barrage, as the winds would build up around his sword, and he would start slashing at Kakashi rapidly. And Kakashi would start dodging these attacks and having to put his book down so he can pay attention. And then the last slash cut straight through Kakashi, but it was a substitution. As Naruto would then look up, and Kakashi came down and kicked Naruto in the face, sending him flying. And this is where Sasuke stepped in, and he started fighting Kakashi again. And still his advances were futile. And Naruto, finally recollecting himself, would jump back into battle helping Sasuke. And the two of them together are pushing Kakashi back and giving him a hard time. Because when Sasuke throws an attack and Kakashi dodges it, Naruto is able to land a devastating attack, and vice versa. So this forces Kakashi to jump back and weave some hand signs as he yells out, Mud Wall, and a large wall would be formed in front of them. Naruto would run to the wall and hold his fist out as if he was getting ready to punch it. And just like the form he was in, he would stop. Then he would punch the wall, sending the rock from the wall at Kakashi. But Kakashi had suspected this, as Naruto only had two ways to go, over it or through it. So Kakashi was standing at the half point of the wall, using his chakra to stay onto the wall, and waited for Naruto to bust through the wall. Because when Naruto did, he jumped down and landed on top of him, putting his foot on his back, making sure he couldn't get up. And Sasuke would then jump down from the top of the wall, and Kakashi would elbow him in the gut, sending Sasuke flying past the wall and into the forest. Naruto would push up off the ground, making Kakashi's foot fly off of him. And he sees Kakashi's only standing on one foot, so Naruto quickly tries to sweep his legs, but Kakashi changes his footing at the right moment so he would dodge Naruto's kick. And then he would kick Naruto in the chin. Naruto would then get up, rubbing his chin, before rushing back in towards Kakashi, throwing a punch that Kakashi would dodge. And then Naruto would kick Kakashi in the stomach. And once Kakashi was kicked in the stomach, he would look up to see Sasuke weaving hand signs as he would yell out, "Fire style! Fireball jutsu!" Kakashi, not being able to substitute or dodge, had no choice but to block the fireball, which he did. And he knew that these two were going to be trouble for him if this continued any longer. So he pulled up his headband, revealing his Sharingan, which left Sasuke, distraught and unable to move, as he knows Kakashi's last name is Hadake, which isn't Uchiha. So how does he have a Sharingan? But Naruto doesn't really care what it is, as he doesn't really know what it is. So he rushes in and just gets absolutely destroyed by Kakashi. Every attack he throws, Kakashi dodges effortlessly and counters. So by the time Naruto is beat up, almost unconscious, Sasuke finally... Sorry about that, my sister bursted in my room. Bust in my room. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Sasuke finally snapped out of it and began trying to fight Kakashi. But this was even more, it was just sad. Sasuke was getting thrown around and beat up without even touching Kakashi. Not even being able to throw a punch or a kick. So, while Kakashi is just bullying Sasuke, Naruto gets an idea. He pulls his sword out and makes a shadow clone. This shadow clone would start trying to fight Kakashi. And Kakashi would at first think it was the real Naruto, but he would realize it didn't have Naruto's sword. So he knew it was a fake. So the shadow clone and Sasuke began fighting Kakashi, but they posed no threat. But it started to, Kakashi started to wonder where the real Naruto was in. And he looked to where Naruto was once lying, and he seen Naruto was still there. But he was holding his sword like a spear. That's when Naruto launched his sword at full power, right past the bells, cutting the strings off the bells, and Naruto's clone would then dive out to catch the bells. Which Kakashi didn't know how to react to it, as he had never seen someone use a sword in this way. So just like that, Team 7 is passed. But they get scolded for not including Sakura in their teamwork. Now another time skip happens to the Land of the Waves mission. And the Demon Brothers pose no threat, as Naruto would just pick up Tazuna and continue to run while the rest of Team 7 had handled them. And when they caught back up, they would ask Naruto why he ran. And Sasuke would even call him a scaredy cat, like he did in the original. But Naruto wasn't scared. Naruto would then respond with, "If you guys handled them that easily, then that means they didn't pose a threat. And they weren't strong enough worth our time at all. They weren't worth our time at all." So they just continued on until the fog started building up around them. And Kakashi would yell at them all to duck. So that's what they all did, as a sword came flying past and it would get stuck in a tree, as then a man appeared on top of it. He would then begin to speak, but Naruto, thinking this is a strong foe, just purely by the way his aura feels and the way he's dressed, he would flash step up there and throw a punch at Zabuza. Zabuza, not expecting this, would get punched in the face by Naruto, and with his back against the tree. Naruto would then throw another punch that Zabuza moved his head out of the way of, and it snapped the tree in half. Zabuza would then kick Naruto off the sword, grab his sword from out of the tree, and jump down at Naruto, swinging his sword. Naruto would do a flip to counter the swing with his own sword. He would like flip backwards, landing onto the ground and block Zabuza's attack. But the attack was so strong and the sword was so large and heavy that it would still send Naruto flying. Naruto would catch himself before hitting a tree, and he would start rushing at Zabuza doing the same. Naruto would yell out, "Gale Barrage!" as the winds would build up around his sword, and the first swung would be blocked by Zabuza's sword. But Naruto swung his sword so hard that Zabuza's sword would then be launched into the air. Well, it would make his arm cocked back, launched into the air, while he's still holding the sword. And Naruto would then throw another slash that Zabuza had to quickly counter, and just barely made it in time to counter the slash. But once again, his arm was flung back by the strength of Naruto. They would then begin rapidly slashing at each other at full strength, making large sparks appear. And their chakras are battling against each other. Having no choice, Kakashi then steps in and kicks Zabuza in the face. And Naruto, taking this to his advantage, would then run at Zabuza and yell out, "Meta Slash!" As when he slashed, a purple rift would open in front of him. And it was as if he had ripped through time and space itself. But nothing came out of it as it then closed. Meta Slash is an ability that can take, when it rips through the time and space, something or someone might come through. Like, if Naruto was to use Meta Slash again, fire might come through, or another Kakashi might come through. No one really knows what will happen because it's random. And if someone comes through, they have a time limit of 15 minutes to fight before they disappear. But yeah, it's random every time. But this time, it was just a normal slash that did a lot of damage. And the slash connected as it started under Zabuza's arm and went up his chest. But this would anger Zabuza as he used the blunt side of his sword to slap Naruto into the forest, knocking him unconscious. And then Zabuza and Kakashi's fight will go the same as in canon, but this time Sasuke was enough to free Kakashi, since all the damage that Naruto and Kakashi together had did to Zabuza, and the cut, that large gash on Zabuza, which would make Zabuza have no choice but to retreat. And when they all made it to Sasuke's house, Naruto decided to go train, because he knew there was a dungeon nearby. And when he went, the first enemy he encountered was a wolf warrior. He looked up to see what it was called, and it was called a were-warrior, like werewolf and warrior put together. The wolf would then speak to Naruto, telling him to put his sword down. Naruto would question him, and the wolf would then respond with, "Respect the art of the duel. You see your opponent bears no weapons, so you yourself should not bear any weapons either." And this seemed reasonable to Naruto, so he would drop his sword and get into his fighting stance. As they would both charge at each other, clashing fists, the wolf was surprised at Naruto's strength, as it matched his own, and they would start flash stepping all around the forest, each punch getting stronger than the last, and each kick getting stronger as well. As Naruto would then jump on a tree while the wolf is on the ground, and the wolf would launch at him, and Naruto would stay in the tree, thinking of a way to counter. But the wolf would purposely miss Naruto, making Naruto think that the wolf just has bad accuracy. But when he turned around, he seen the wolf putting his claws into the tree behind him, and the hairs on the back of the wolf were standing up, as they then began to glow white. and all the hairs will be shot out at Naruto, cutting him, and some even stabbing into his arms and legs, making him fall down from the tree. The wolf would then say that pin needle attack was probably too strong for him to handle. As while Naruto was free falling, the wolf would jump to the ground and get ready to prepare the final attack, just in case Naruto wasn't dead. And Naruto, head first near the ground, he would open his eyes as he would lock eyes with the wolf. And his aura alone would scare the wolf stiff. A darkish aura would appear around Naruto with a faint red glow. It wasn't Kurama's chakra, but you could sense some of it in there. And the wolf still couldn't move, as Naruto would then appear in front of him and punch a hole straight through his stomach, killing the wolf and gaining a reasonable amount of XP. Naruto would continue on after picking up his sword, and he would smell something strange. It stunk bad too, as he would hear rustling in the bushes before looking up to see a large hyena bearing a sword jumping down to swing his sword, cutting him and killing him, well, trying to kill him. Naruto would then draw his sword and then block the attack as he would stare into the eyes of the hyena. Oh wait. The hyena was 2 levels higher than the werewolf, at a level 46. Naruto was only at a level 40. So he was troubled on how he would beat the foe. But he would look into the animal's eyes, and he would see that it was blind. So it only relied on smell and hearing. So Naruto would begin running from the beast, as the beast would start chasing after him, cutting down trees in the process. Naruto would jump into the water before launching himself out using shadow clones. And the hyena would look confused as he no longer could smell Naruto. And Naruto would land on a tree branch. But since the hyena cannot rely on his eyesight, his ears have been enhanced to hear a lot better as well. So he would look up at Naruto and waste no time as he would lunge at Naruto. Naruto would then copy him and do the same, as he would lunge down from the tree branch and they would clash heads. As the hyena was sent down into the water and Naruto was sent up into the air, as he would then fall back down, his fall getting broken by some tree branches. Naruto would get back up to his feet pretty quickly, as the hyena would as well. And the hyena would dash at him with immense speed and try to knee Naruto. But Naruto would catch his knee with one hand before punching him in the gut. And the hyena, out of pain, would slap Naruto into a tree. And then, before Naruto could get up, he would start punching him repeatedly with his right arm before kicking him through the tree. Naruto was pretty dazed, but he could somewhat see. He would see the hyena holding his sword in 2 hands, getting ready to slam it down onto Naruto. And Naruto would draw his sword quickly, flash step behind the hyena, and use Meta Slash once more. And once he used his Meta Slash, out came multiple shuriken, stabbing into the back of the hyena. And then Naruto would say, "It's time for me to use some jutsu," as he would weave hand signs and yell out, "Wind breakthrough," as a gust of wind would push the hyena into a tree. And since there was nowhere else for the hyena to go, the shuriken in the hyena's back started to get lodged deeper into his back until they weren't even visible anymore. And then the hyena died. Naruto will continue to farm up some of these hyenas to get XP so he can better take on the boss once he meets it. And he would do this for like an hour or two before he feels like he's ready to take on the boss. Naruto would find the boss, as its name would be the King of the Hunt. And Naruto would stare into its eyes and look at its superior structure, as the beast was at least 5 times Naruto's size. And when its tail swayed back and forth, rocks would tumble over. Naruto would place down his sword and crack his knuckles, as the boss would laugh and say, "So you do respect the art of the duel." As they would then dash at each other, a punch would be thrown by the beast, which Naruto would dodge and then kick him in his leg. But the kick did almost nothing. This would then make the beast swing his tail at Naruto, slapping him into the wall. Naruto would then slide down the cave wall, get back up, and begin to fight again. He would run up to the beast, and the beast would try to step onto him, but Naruto would launch himself in the air, and then make 2 shadow clones, spinning them both around twice, and launching them at the beast's eyes. Each one of them punched one of his eyes, blinding him temporarily, before landing on the ground and grabbing his legs. Naruto would then make more shadow clones that helped hold the legs of the beast down, while Naruto would jump off the cave walls and stare the beast straight in his eye as he punched the beast's chest, sending him toppling over. But as the beast started to fall, he would then swing his tail once more at Naruto, slamming him right into the roof of the cave. And when he fell down, the beast was able to shake off his shadow clones and then punch Naruto right in the face. And his hands are at least 2 times bigger than his face. And this would send Naruto flying while doing flips, and he would hit the door of the cave, or the passageway of the cave, before sliding down and falling flat on his face. Naruto would get up and yell out to the beast, "I'm gonna kill you for that," as he would start running. And he felt something welling up inside of him, in anger, as he would then stop in his tracks. He felt weird. He felt hatred. He'd never felt this way before, as a bright purple aura would then be shot into the sky. Naruto's eyes would be covered by his hair, as his hair had grown a little bit longer, but all the beast could see was at least a red glow in his eyes. Naruto would then get a achievement called Deathbringer, and he would check something. He would check a new HUD on his screen. It would be called Transformations, and when he clicked it, it would say Deliverance Mode, and that's what Naruto assumed this to be. This form rivals a one-tailed cloak Naruto, but Naruto, not thinking twice, just wanting to use the power he had before it, ran out, he would rush at the beast, punching his leg and shattering the bone. He would then wrap his arms around the other leg and pick the beast up, sending him toppling down. Sorry, my family, once again, they're loud a lot. They like to bust in my room too. But, like I was saying, he would then send the beast toppling over. And then he would jump above him to the ceiling of the cave, and then place his feet on the ceiling of the cave, launching straight down at the beast. And when he would punch his chest, the armor on his chest would shatter. He would then begin punching his chest repeatedly, putting dents in the beast's chest, making him roar in pain. The beast would then slam his arm down at Naruto, and Naruto would raise one hand, catching it as if it were nothing. Naruto would run up the chest of the beast and start punching him in his face before he would grab the horns of the beast, place his foot on the beast's snout, and start pulling with all his strength, as his horns would then be ripped off, and the beast, valuing his horns as if they were his life, would basically submit to Naruto. Naruto would then slay the boss, and his transformation would run out. And Naruto had earned another achievement. Or, he would earn a title, the Bringer of Death, just like the achievement. And he would also obtain a new skill, called the King of the Hunt. If any beasts were around, even if he hadn't beaten them yet, he could summon them to battle for him. And he can summon this boss. So he doesn't even have to use his resurrection skill on the boss, or any other beast he has fought. Now I skip to when they brought Tazuna to the bridge, as Naruto wants to have a rematch with Zabuza. And Naruto wants his rematch, but he doesn't want to use his sword, as he wants to see how far he's come with his hand-to-hand combat skills. So, he would rush at Zabuza and dodge a slash from him before uppercutting him, sending him into the sky. Naruto would flash step right above Zabuza and kick downward. Sorry. Thought I was gonna sneeze. And he would kick downward onto Zabuza's head, sending him flying into the bridge. Naruto would then use some shadow clones to hold Zabuza down, similar to how what he had did to Deidara in Shippuden. And then he would start beating on Zabuza mercilessly, getting blood on his hands, on his face. But then Zabuza would get one of his arms free and punch Naruto, sending him to the left side of the bridge before the other clones had dispersed. Zabuza would get up and start dragging his sword against the ground, and when he made it to Naruto, he would kick him in his ribs, multiple times even, and then he would pick Naruto up by his shirt before slamming him into the ground, as if he were nothing. He would stare into Naruto's eyes, as Naruto could barely see, because he was beaten so badly, and he was in agonizing pain. And Naruto would then hold out one of his hands, as rocks would start to form around it. This was Naruto's rock manipulation ability, as he would then make the rocks spread out onto Zabuza's waist, and they would start grabbing onto Zabuza. Zabuza would be confused as the rocks started spreading down his legs and up to his torso, and he couldn't move. Naruto's body was Naruto's arm was keeping him in place, but because Naruto's arm was keeping him in place, Naruto couldn't move either, so they were at a standstill. But Kakashi couldn't go help him because he was trying to make sure Sasuke was handling Haku, because if he took his eyes off of Sasuke and Haku for a moment, anything could happen, so he couldn't really do anything. But Naruto had planned for this, as he would then use his King of the Hunt ability, and he would summon the boss, and the boss would punch Zabuza so hard, he would be sent off the side of the bridge, and just barely use his chakra to stand on top of the water. But his body is so weak, he doesn't, have the strength to even move. As the boss would then jump down from the bridge, and the boss too can stand on the water, as most of the NPCs can stand on water. And he would start walking to Zabuza, as Zabuza started backing up slowly, having his sword drawn. But it was futile, as the beast would dash towards Zabuza and grab his face before squeezing it so tight that his head popped. Then the beast would disappear and Naruto would pass out. Haku, seeing this, would instantly rush at Naruto, but then was cut off by Sasuke, kicking him in the face. Haku and Sasuke would then get into a hand-to-hand battle, and they were pretty even. Haku not wanting to waste any time, knowing that he has to get past Sasuke to kill Naruto, instantly uses the ice mirrors. And Sasuke is doing pretty okay at dodging them. He still gets hit a lot, to the point where the pent-up anger that Naruto was able to actually do damage to his opponent, and Sasuke is pretty much just stuck in the same place, not being able to even touch his opponent. And he knows his opponent is probably weaker. Well, he thinks his opponent is weaker. So now he just gets so mad that he unlocks his Tsutomu Sharingan. Now Sasuke has turned the tides, as none of the needles can even, Senbon can even hit Sasuke. As Haku tries to change mirrors, Sasuke would appear in front of Haku and punch Haku so hard, sending him straight into the bridge and putting cracks in the rocks. He would land on top of Haku and start punching him repeatedly in the face, before weaving hand signs and doing a point-blank fire-style fireball jutsu, burning Haku's face to a crisp, killing him. When when Team 7 returned to the Leaf Village, Naruto would check his level and his skills. His level was a 52. And his main 5 skills were Resurrection, Meta Slash, Demon Fang, Demon Blitz, and Rock Manipulation. I forgot to put Gale Barrage on here, but we're not going to talk about that. The monsters he has obtained was Manhopper, the Golem, the Regal Cave Wolf, the Were Warrior, the Berserk Hyena, and the King of the Hunt himself. And his form is called the Deliverance Mode. I call it this because the title he obtained was called the Bringer of Death. And if you're bringing something, you're delivering something. So the form, Deliverance, is delivering death. I thought that was, pretty cool. Yeah. But I'll see you guys probably either later today or tomorrow. I'm out.